Good morning. Welcome to another day of Mindful Monday. Today we're going to talk about self awareness. And what is self awareness? As it's one of our pillars of emotional intelligence, being able to have consciousness over our emotions, feelings, understanding of how we come across to others. How do we actually cultivate self awareness? Why do we even need self awareness, right? When we walk into a room and it the energy or the emotions change once we walk in. When we are having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden the vibe that we had before kind of changes a bit. Is it because of us? Is it because of them? What's going on, right? When we have self awareness, we have a little bit more confidence over our own being and our own connection with others. We know when we are walking in to a situation that we can be ourself, and we know what kind of energy that puts in the room. Is it positive? Is it negative? Even if we're going through stressful situations, if we're more self aware, we notice that, okay, this isn't just the person that I'm talking to, or this isn't just a situation. I might have other things going on in my life that are causing me to act in this way or causing me to be a little bit more negative, a little bit more aggressive, right? How self aware are you at this moment? Now, how do we cultivate self awareness? There's three tools that can really help in cultivating it. And I think you'll be happy to hear that some of these tools you might have already been practicing. The first one is solitude. When you're away from all the other pieces of your life, all the other distractions of your life, you're forced to look inward. You have to start seeing, okay, how do I reflect on things? What is my mindset about the world, about my job, about my family, versus having all these other distractions of how things are supposed to be, how they should feel, how they're going to feel, being able to reflect inward and notice, okay, what is my actual perception of this world and myself even. The second is being able to journal. I've talked about journaling a lot. When you start to journal, you open yourself up to be able to have metacognitions. And what metacognitions are is being able to think about your thought, to have a thought about your thoughts. A lot of times we get into this rhythm or pattern or autopilot of just going with whatever's coming out of us, whatever's happening, reaction, right? And we don't actually think about what we're thinking before we think about it after, right? Hindsight. But if you start to journal and write things down, when you notice what you were going through in that moment, what you were feeling, what you were thinking, and how that started to create a relationship with certain situations, certain relationships that you might stray away from or you might not want to deal with. That's the attitude you start going into it with, which can create a negative perspective, right? And the third is practicing mindfulness. Now, we've talked about mindfulness a lot, but it can be in different ways. It doesn't necessarily need to be just a sitting meditation or deep breathing. If you go for a walk, being able to mindfully walk, which is very important because a lot of times if we're going in our exercise routines, we go into autopilot. But if you were to take a slow walk and just notice the birds chirping, the bugs making noise, how green the grass is today, the difference in temperature, even how your body is feeling while you start to walk, what parts of your body are sore. You're being present. And when you're being present, that opens you up to being okay with being in this present moment, good or bad, whatever it is. You're training your mind and your body to be self aware in that moment. And so when you can do that in a small dose, it gets easier and easier to have that be your regular autopilot of I'm going to be self aware when I walk into these situations. And that makes you more alert. It can help cultivate your listening skills. It can get you a place where you are actually using all your intuitive gifts in those moments when you need them versus the reaction. So try three of these sometime this week. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice what things come up. And instead of, you know, getting angry about the solitude piece, which I know most of us are dealing with right now, use it as a tool and notice what comes up in the mind. Journal it down, write it down. Become aware of how you would want it to look versus how it's looking. Notice if you can reframe any of those pieces that you keep going back to or you keep cycling into. And again, just try to be mindful this week. Be present with what's going on versus reacting to what might happen or overthinking what has happened in the past. These will be ways that you can help cultivate self awareness. I'm going to have a longer video on my website, Nomad Healing Practices, in a few weeks after I cover all the pillars of emotional intelligence. So I hope this helps. And remember, breathe deeply, live fully. Have a great day.